Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. This is the newest machine that we've ever done a video of us repairing. It's a Stern Monopoly, designed by the great Pat Lawler. This is kind of the extent of my appreciation of fun games. To me, this is about as fun as they get, right? I know people wouldn't rate this as like the best game of all time or anything, but anything that's got more going on than this one, I don't even understand, so I'm just as cool playing this one than this one, But this came out in the early 2000s. It's a Stern machine. I always liked Stern, still like Stern. The Pat Lawler, of course, is a legend. Designed some of the greatest games of all time. I used to operate one of these. I didn't know anything about pinball, and to be honest with you, I had never even played much pinball until I got a job working for an operator. And whenever I went out on my own route that I had of his machines and his route that I was running it's an operator. He has several routes. One guy does all these locations, one guy does all these locations, one woman does all these locations, blah blah blah. When I got my own route of his locations and games, this was in one of the locations. And I remember something about this little flipper. This was messed up on it, so I don't know if that usually goes bad. I guess there's a motor under there that makes that turn. Something about that didn't work, and I think I got it to work finally, and I was so proud of myself that I actually fixed something on a pinball machine, and that was kind of one of the first games that I ever even worked on, was one of these Monopolies. But I didn't do much. It just had some little minor things. I didn't do any board work. And then later on, I had a Starship Troopers that I was working on another location, and I screwed it all up, but I had to take it back to the shop so they could fix it. I was talking to the guy at the shop that worked on him. He's this kind of crusty old guy, right? And I never really knew him, and I was this young pinball repair guy out on location that I didn't know a thing about repairing machines. Had no clue. And he was trying to explain to me, and he wasn't a great teacher. It was, what's it? Yeah, what's it doing? Okay, yeah, you need to swap out the transistor. I didn't even know what the hell a transistor was. You need to swap out the transistor. I was like, okay, I need to use my soldering gun. And he's like, yeah, in the back box there's you need to find the transistor for that coil, swap it out. I had no clue what he was talking about. So that's the level of expertise I started at. And now people tell me in the comments, oh, you can fix anything and all this. No, it's not really that. It's just that if you systematically go through them, you can figure out how to repair them. So what are we doing with this one? A customer brought it by, and they want us to repair it for them. This is actually at a college, and the college opens in about a week and a half, and they want this pinball machine to be working whenever the students come back. So we're going to get it working for whenever the students come back. So they brought it to the right place. They also have a Miss Pac-Man Galaga arcade game that they want us to fix. So we're going to fix it too. So I don't know what's going on with it, but we're going to figure out in this video. I'm going to tell you a story, though, also about one of these machines, a Monopoly, just because it's a good story. So if you don't want to hear the story, fast forward 4 minutes. I was at the store here years ago, many years ago. I got a phone call. And it was somebody asking me if I wanted to buy a Monopoly pinball machine. And I said, sure, maybe, depending on the price. As soon as I said that, he probably knew that I was good for it, right? But I said, maybe, what do you want for it? And he said, I'll take $500 for it. And this was over 10 years ago. That's pretty much almost 15 years ago. This game came out in the early 2000s, probably 2003? It says 2001 here, right? So it was only a few years old at the time. And so I thought, yeah, I'd probably be interested in that. I went, where are you at? And he's like, I'm here in town. I was like, okay. And he's like, can you come over and check it out? And I was like, oh, sure. So I get my car and I drive over to his house. Or my truck. I drive over to his house. I closed the store down and drove over to his house because this is a hell of a deal. And he came up with the price, So I go over to his house, and this kind of kid comes out, and he's like 19 or 20, you know. Okay, well, whatever. And so I was like, so what's going on? He's like, yeah, well, it's in here. So I go in there, and it looked, you know, to be honest, this may be the same damn machine. Maybe this thing's just been sitting around all this time, but I don't believe it is. But it had a flipper rubber broke like that, you know, just sitting there, and it's dirty. See how dirty this thing is? It's dirty and everything, and it was in about this condition, you know. And so you may be thinking, oh, $500, come on, he should have known something was up. Well, the machines have really appreciated in value over the last several years. That was a hell of a deal, but it wasn't an unheard of deal. 15 years ago, you could get some decent games for $500 sometimes if you got a really good deal on one. I mean, it would be gone immediately if you advertised it for $500, but I've bought DMD pinball machines, some of the ones you've seen on this channel, for $100 before. Not because I offered that, that's what it was advertised for, right? So I mean, back several years ago, you could get some machines cheap every once in a while. And not so much anymore, because everybody knows. But anyway, I get over to his house. It's kind of this kid. I walk in, I look at it, and I go, okay, yeah, I'll take it for $500. And so I give him the $500, and I go to my truck and I get my cart. It was probably that cart. I didn't set this up, folks. I mean, the machine looks just like the one I'm talking about, and it's probably the same exact cart. I mean, I've had that cart the whole time. And so I start wheeling it in the guy's garage. And so he's standing there, and it's this big, nice house, you know the type, right? Big, old, nice house. And he says, man, and I'm thinking, this SOB is going to try to back out of it. And he goes, man, I just can't sell it. And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? And then he goes, and so I'm starting to like get lippy with him, right? And he says, it's my dad's. And I go, what? And he goes, man, it's my dad's machine, and he was supposed to give me some money. I really need some money, and he didn't give it to me, and so I was trying to sell his pinball machine out of spite. And I said, you son of a, just started cussing the guy. Man, I was so mad because he's trying to sell me a stolen machine and get me all involved in it, And my blood was boiling, And so I looked at him, and I'm not Billy Badass or anything, but I'm 6'1". I'm kind of a big guy, And I was so mad, right? And this little punk kid, and I told him, I was like, why in the hell did you call me? If you want to steal something and start a bunch of crap with your dad, don't call me. What are you doing? Look what you've done. And I was getting so upset. And I was like, you need to take your little blah, blah, blah in the house and get me all the money that you've got and bring it out here for wasting my time. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, let me go see what I got. So he goes in the house and he comes back out with like $15. And hands me $15. And I took it and put it in my pocket and drove back to the store. Can you believe that crap? So I'm kind of gun shy on monopolies. I don't know that I'll ever even be able to buy one because just telling that story still kind of upsets me. If I would have bought that, think about that. The cops would have been over here and everything. Oh my God. Man, I wanted to kill that kid. So anyway, maybe this is the same game. I don't know. Like I said, it had a broken flipper rubber. And I didn't really even look at it that much. All I remember is I had a broken flipper rubber and it was really black. But to be honest, a lot of them get really dirty and the flipper rubbers break a lot. So anyway, that's that. So I don't know what's going on with this one. You see a little bit of fade here on the side. It's probably been in a place where the window is letting light shine in on it. You see a little bit of wear by the flipper button. That was before they made their shields standard or whatever. You see how the rail just is real thin and runs down. So this decal here gets worn away. But cool game. We're going to see what it does. But we need to look inside of it first to just see if there's something horribly screwed up. Has somebody been attempting to fix it? Is this really that kid's pinball machine and he sold everything out of the back box? Inquiring minds want to know. So let's pull the glass off and look under the playfield first. So the moral of the story is, people, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? But like I said, I've got good deals like that before. Okay, so the first problem is this plunger. The knob is broke off. And you can't pull the thing back. And you can't lift the playfield because it'll hit that. So we're going to do something drastic here. I'm going to do something on a pinball you've never seen anybody do. And then I'm going to show you why. So let me get a hammer. Yeah, we're about to work on a pinball machine with a hammer. Now, two things. One, I'm not a maniac, so I'm not going to hurt anything with the hammer. I think a hammer is the best thing to use right now. And two, if this doesn't work right, I just won't upload this part of the video. Come on, people. So I'm not going to be able to do that. It was a good idea. Maybe I can pry on it with it. I need something to tap that. Basically, it looks like it's been pushed in and is somehow jammed inside of there. And the reason I don't mind hitting it with a hammer or something is because I ordered a replacement one for it. So I've got a brand new one. But I need to get that old one out, hopefully without destroying this plastic shooter housing here. So let me see if I can find a smaller hammer. Okay, I freed it up. I didn't use a hammer. I used a mallet. That's completely different. Look, that's not a hammer. That's a mallet, folks. See, look, 16-ounce rubber mallet, and it's in the hand tools section. It's a mallet, folks. All right, well, it's time for my third story of the same game. So I've got it pulled out, and I'm just trying to see the condition everything's in before I plug it in. Now, a couple things. One, there's a battery here. I don't like that, and I really don't like that it's all corroded. Not a good sign. Not a good sign. Okay, now here's the other one. Here's the story. Look at this. It's a Kool-Aid pack. Now here's the interesting thing. I've been looking for this Kool-Aid pack. It's sticky. We had a customer come in the other day. Look at that. See how it's in date? We had a customer come in the other day. And again, I'm not trying to just be ranting and raving. It's just, this is interesting stuff to me. He brings his daughter in. She's little. She's like 3. Okay? He's so interested in looking at the video games that he's letting her run all over the store, touching things, pulling things. And she's running around with a Kool-Aid package in her hand. And he's just ignoring her the whole time. And, you know, it's not her. I mean, she's a child. She doesn't know. If you go in a store, you kind of got to watch your kids a little bit. Eventually, Joey had to actually say something to the guy. Hey, man, you might need to watch your daughter. Right? And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. And Joey's like, she had a Kool-Aid thing, and it's gone now. And he was like, oh, well, it was empty. And Joey's like, yeah, but where is it? And so the guy looks around for like 5 minutes, cannot find the thing anywhere in the building. So where is it? Somehow it's inside the pinball machine. So if you look at the back, now this is a 3-year-old, so she didn't break that, but I'm pretty sure she slipped it through the back of the pinball machine. We had this sitting out on the floor. Somebody had just delivered it. And so I guess she slipped it through the back of the pinball machine, and that's how that Kool-Aid thing got in the bottom of the game. So it doesn't appear to have got Kool-Aid on anything, and it appears that it was empty, but, you know. It's a $5,000 pinball machine, and the guy's letting his kids run around just... I don't know, man. Come on now. Come on, people. All right, so we ordered the shooter rod for it, and we also ordered... there was one other thing that we could tell we needed, so we went ahead and got it. What was it? Oh, drop target. The drop target is broken, so we ordered that. So we got a new one of those. Everything looks cool underneath it. Let's take this. Well, let me tip up the playfield. We didn't look at the bottom of the playfield yet. All right, so underneath it looks pretty good. I don't see anything hacked, all the crap. I don't see anything that looks obviously damaged. The only thing that even gives me any pause at all is if we end up having like an optic board problem. You know, this is in the era where they're using surface mount stuff. It's hard for me to fix stuff like that. I do old school through mount chip stuff. But if there's a problem with that, you can probably just get another board, hopefully. This is that flipper thing that I was talking about. There is a motor here, and there is a rubber tire around this motor. And it, you know, I don't know, man. It might be on the way out. We may be ordering some parts for that. But you can turn it by hand, so it's not locked up. But everything looks all right. It's just a little dirty, but you know, that's to be expected from this age of machine. I hate to see how bad this battery damage is going to be. I looked at the battery. It said made in the USA. Oh, that's the first thing. Actually, you can still get batteries made in the USA. I got some the other day. So are you ready for this? It's an Energizer Industrial. 2011 is the expiration date. Usually they're about 8 years out. I've seen them 10 years out. So this was built in 2001, it said. It might have been 2002 or so when they actually made it, if it was licensed in 2001. 2011, that very well may be the factory batteries. Which is common, you know. Sometimes people will not replace the batteries. Okay, so I'm going to put the playfield down, and then we'll open up the back box, and I'll wait till the camera's on to show you what's behind it. All right, so I don't have the keys for the back box either. But fortunately, on this model stern, there are 4 little security screws that you can take out with a security bit, and then the lock just comes out. So the back glass was kind of stuck, but I was able to finagle it out. But I haven't been able to, I didn't take it down yet to see what's behind it, but I don't like what I can see. So for instance, the battery laying in the bottom, how did that happen? There's a hard jolt somewhere to make that happen, right? Well, you got the ballast for the lamp on the board. I don't like the looks of that either. I hope it didn't break anything. We're definitely going to have this board out. All right, so I'm going to just lean it down and we'll see it together. I was watching Radio TV Phono Nut, and he said something to the point of, so we can both experience what hell is like. You know what? I don't even see the batteries. Perhaps these don't even have batteries. Ah. Well, someone has probably updated it so that it doesn't need batteries if it ever did. Let me get this back glass out of the way before we mess it up. What's going on here? Someone has probably removed that if it ever even needed batteries. It may be just a newer revision of the board and they stopped using batteries, which would have to do with this 5164. I wonder if that's a NVRAM. So they may have an NVRAM solution, but it does not look like there is any kind of battery damage to worry about. So hopefully we're out of the the woods on that. Now this, I guess it wasn't touching it too bad. Maybe it was up here. Maybe like so. That would make sense. So we'll see about putting that back or whatever. Yeah. So let's look at that up close. See the damage on the resistors there? It just kind of got the paint off of them. Whoop. So we're probably all right. There's a couple of little things there to think about. I think we're probably all right. And all of that I can fix. That's all through-hole stuff. No problem. Okay, so that looks good. Now we just need to look at the back of the display. Make sure it's all right. Aha! I got you, sucker. And you watch this. Wow. Can we just get a good hand for Stern? They somehow designed it where if the thing started crapping the bed on you, it would rot itself off the board and fall in the bottom of the cabinet. You see this, right? It fell off the board. And then did all of its harry-carry in the bottom of the cabinet. Very cool. Holy moly. So this, I'm just going to guess, this thing's going to attempt to boot, but it's going to come up in a settings mode because it doesn't have a battery, because it literally fell off the board. There may be some damage on the back of the board. We'll have to look at that, but I don't believe so. It looks too good on the front. And this even looks good. Like the little legs don't look bad. Huh, that is crazy. Huh. This is why you open them up first, people. All right, folks, so we got a good look at it. Now, what would have happened if we turned it on and that ballast was laying down on those resistors? Maybe it's been like that and somebody already turned it on with that ballast laying down on those resistors. I don't know. Something to think about. Let's try to turn it on and see if it does anything. It may be really loud. If it'll do anything. For your info, Boardwalk is Schlosserly in Germany. Oh, okay. Ooh. Hello, outgas display. Wow. So there you go, people. That is trade. Well, what's the word for it? Textbook. That is textbook outgassed DMD display. That's about as bad as it gets. So basically, whenever the juice starts leaking out, when the gas starts outgassing, you get stuff like this. It can still work, but you will get big splotches and, you know, it just ain't right. So we're going to need a new display, probably, unless I'm incorrectly diagnosing it. You know, I usually do older games, but that's going to be a bad display, bigger than hell. So we'll see about that. We'll get one. No big deal. Let's see if she'll coin up and do anything. Do I have all 4 balls in there? I think so, because there's none down here. Let's try to credit it up. Boy, she sounds good. Here we go. Nothing. Nothing. I tried to push start. What the hell? don't seem right either. Yeah, that ain't right. Oh man, what are they doing to me? Alright, I'm gonna tip the playfield back up. By the way, when I say that, people, I'm just being entertaining. I'm trying to be. When I say, what are they doing to me? Look, this is an easy repair. So some of you can see what the problem is immediately. This switch, they have a wire connected to normally closed, or normally open, normally closed, and a wire connected to normally open, but nothing connected to the common. So this is just simply on the wrong blade. Alright, so I'm wrong. I forgot. There we go. Huh. They have a diode connecting that wire to the common. So it's fine. It's just whenever you press the front button, it's not pressing this thing. So when I just pressed that, it started us up. However, it did not start the game. I mean, kick the ball out. But I thought I heard him say something. Did he say something about open the door or the door's open? Some games, when you open the door, it kills all of the solenoid voltage. Which would be both of those. There we go. Okay, so you see what I did there? Basically, when the door's open, these two have popped out. When you close the door, this is going to push both of those in. It's a safety device so that it kills the coil voltage on the playfield, which is the only dangerous voltage on the playfield. So this is probably running at 50 volts or something like that, or probably 40 something. And so to keep it where you won't get shocked, if the door's open or a kid messes around with it and gets the door to open, it'll kill all the power for the high voltage, which they're saying is 40 volts or whatever it is. So it looks like it's going to work, but I need to put a lock on it so I can shut the door properly. All right, folks, so I put a lock on the door. I'm not going to play it a bunch because we've got broken rubbers everywhere, but we can at least test some stuff, right? It says okay. So let's coin it up. The display, we don't have a new display for it yet. So I can't read the display, so the test menu is useless. But let's see if it'll do anything. Oh, I didn't put the start button back in yet. So we got a problem with the start button.
I want to be a millionaire.
All right, it has kicked out the ball. The music is working. Our little motorized flipper is working. And I can almost make the plunger work with the broken off knob.
You move 9 paces. What no fingers feel. Electric power is the future.
Okay, we had a little up kicker up there that was pretty weak, but it's probably because there's something stuck in it. The saucer at the top right did work. You saw that. I don't really want to play it without a rubber ring on it for long. Okay, the bank door works. I mean, we're looking pretty good. The one thumper bumper is thumping. Okay, this might not work right. Yeah. So it's stuck, it's sticking.
Swimming in it now.
So that's not strong enough to kick the ball out of the saucer, which very well could be that rubber ring that we were talking about. Let's see if this will kick the ball out. There's a rubber ring over the top of it.
What do we have here?
Okay, so that does work. This kicker up here wasn't that great, but it did work. So I think that's just the...
Holding property never goes out of stock.
That's all fixable. That worked. Okay, so all the coils are working. That's all of them. So switches I can fix if there's any problems with that. We may end up where we need some kind of switch or something. I think all the coils are fine. We need a display. We got the shooter rod. We've got the drop target. You could have a problem where the drop target won't reset, but I think we're looking pretty good. It's just got problems all over the place. All right, folks, it's viewer mail time again. I try to show pretty much everything that people send us. I figure the least I can do is show how generous people are. Now, we are not soliciting gifts. You do not need to send us anything. We're not asking anybody for anything. But if you want to send us something, this is our address. Okay, so today's gift comes from Paul in Augusta, Kansas. I didn't know there was an Augusta, Kansas, Paul. We're in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Augusta, Georgia is about 2 hours from here. It's kind of a straight shot, so it's a easy little drive. You go to Columbia and then to Augusta from Columbia. And that is the home of the great James by God Brown. All right, so today we've got a whole big box from Paul. So let me pull this out and show you the note that came with it. All right. Now, folks, this is kind of overkill. There's all kinds of stuff in there. Again, we're just saying thank you. Hi, Ron. I subscribed to your channel about a year ago and have been watching ever since. At the time, I was working on a Gottlieb Far Out EM pinball machine. My pinball collection is made up mostly of non-working late 70s Bally and Williams solid-state machines and a Gottlieb black hole. Let me tell you about that black hole. Up until about 15 years ago, that was kind of considered the hardest freaking game to keep running. But they kind of figured it out eventually. The ground mods were a lot of the problem. But back in the day, that was the one everybody wanted to collect before all of the 2000 and up games came out. You know, so all the Stern stuff. Everybody wanted a black hole. It's a cool game. So you've got a lot of non-working 70s Bally's and Williams solid-state machines and a Gottlieb black hole. You got some work on your hands there, but it sounds like you got some nice games too. My advice would be work on them one at a time. That's my best advice I can give you. I use hard copies of Clay's instructions to fix them. Clay is the man. Your videos helped give me the confidence that I could get Far Out up and working. I was able to sell a totally working machine that had been broken in a basement for 40 years. Well, that's pretty cool. One more saved. Let's check that one off the list here. Far Out. Good to go. These other ones, we're going to focus on these. And a Gottlieb black hole next. Now, I will say, though, if you're just starting out, right, fixing an EM is much harder than fixing a late 70s Bally. Just my opinion. It's cheaper because you don't have to buy a bunch of parts. but it's much harder because you have to get over that hump of learning how the schematics work. Once you get over that hump, you can figure it out. In this box, you will find some circuit boards. Some came from a game repair business that closed its doors here in Wichita, Kansas. I have no idea what machines they are for. You part back in machines all the time, and I figured a hacked old board is better than no board at all. You are absolutely correct. Hacked old boards, I'm in love with them. If you got one you're going to trash, send it to me. I'll be happy to take it. There are also a couple of Gottlieb System 1 boards from a Charlie's Angels. The owner wanted new boards in the machine. If the boards can help you get a machine working and make a couple bucks, awesome. Well, thank you, sir. I was able to stop the feedback sound from the displays on my Supersonic and $6 Million Man because of a tip in one of your recent videos. Ah, okay. Very cool. Thanks for mentioning where you get parts in your videos. Since Ed at Great Plains closed, that's a shame. I had to start all over to find places that had electronic parts at reasonable prices. Keep making your videos the way you want to make them, and I'll keep watching. Boy, what a nice sentiment. Your pinball brother, Paul Goforth, who is Smoke is Hungry on YouTube. Paul, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate the letter just as much as I'm going to appreciate whatever's in this box. So we'll look through it for all of you pinball freaks out there. Holla if you hear me. Let's see what we got. This, from a glance, from a distance, is trying to grab the stuff. Okay, that definitely looks Bally to me. This is similar to like the Bally power supplies that were in some of the early arcade games. So Galaga, or Junior Pac-Man, something like that. That's my guess. Now, I don't know. It's only got, looks like one big long connector there. I could be wrong. So let's see. So there's a 7805. That's a 5-volt voltage regulator. A 7812. So it's a 12-volt voltage regulator. And look here, it says 39 of 76. So this is going to be even older. This is going to be for like a Seawolf or something, would be my guess. There's one apparently missing there. Another 1976 date code. And I don't know what a FUA 78M G5UC is, or O5UC. So I don't know what that is. Yeah, I still think it's Midway. Midway or Bally, which, you know, was the same company. But it's not a Bally pinball. I wonder if it's the Bally Home Pinball. And I'll tell you why I think that here in a minute. Yeah, I'm going to go with this is for the Bally Home Pinball. I may be wrong, but... with Midway Manufacturing Company and Bally Company Power Supply. So we knew that. Yeah, I think this is for the Bally Home Model Pinball. So we'll come back to that here in a minute. Well, let's go to that right now, actually. The reason I think that is because we have this that I saw when I opened the box. This is a Bally Home Model Pinball board, I do believe. I may be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. Now let's see what the date code is on any of this stuff. Okay, late 77 date code. Late 76 date code. Late 76 date code, I'm sorry. So this one's late 77. So this is, I believe, if I'm guessing, that's the display board for the back box of like a Bally Evel Knievel home model pinball machine. So it's got the display and the lights all in one. There's two versions of that board for the home systems. I don't know which one this is. I haven't looked into it in a while. But these are your solenoid drivers. A couple of them's broke off, but that's no big deal. Actually, it looks like those are different than these, so I don't know which one's which. They may actually be using those for light bulbs, and those are for solenoids. That's what I would guess. And then these are helping to drive the displays, maybe, or something like that. Does it say? Yes, here we go. Midway Manufacturing Company, a Bally company. Doesn't say what it's to. If I was going to guess, like I said, Evel Knievel. What was the other one? Was there a Wizard home model, or? It was Evel Knievel, and I haven't had the other one, so I'm not sure. I think it may have been a Wizard or a Captain. Yeah, it was a Captain Fantastic home version, wasn't it? So that's very cool. These are actually very useful. If I get a home model pinball machine in, I will need that. So that's cool. So I'll bet this is the power supply to that one. It just makes sense since they're in the same box and came from the same place. That's probably all that's left of a Bally Evel Knievel home model pinball machine. Okay, so next out of the box. Oh, look. I don't need that. I've got those. This is a System 1 Gottlieb MPU. Let me open it up because I want to see how bad the battery damage is. Alright, it's starting to slip away from us. It's getting out there. This can all be saved though. So your main thing that you want to worry about is whenever that starts spreading, it's gunk. Somebody the other day got all mad at me because I said these leak. So he pushed his glasses up on his forehead and he said, "They don't leak, they outgas. They don't, it doesn't physically come from inside. It's a chemical reaction." There was something in here that's not in here anymore, and that's why it's like this, okay? That's a leak, any way you want to look at it. But you want to make sure whenever it does leak that it doesn't start eating up this chip, because this chip is not easy to replace. It can be swapped, but it's hard to find another one. That's fine. It hasn't messed it up yet. So that's very, very savable. So I will take that off. Let me do it right now so y'all can know that I'm serious about it. All right. Desoldered. Now I'm not going to clean it up right now, but at least we got the source gone. So cool. So that's the MPU. Looks like some more of it may be in here. Gottlieb System 1 solenoid driver, it says. Let's see if we can tell without unwrapping it if it has the famous little diodes. Yes, it does. I can feel them. So there's two versions of this. One of them allowed voltage to, if something shorted, allowed voltage to go back up and mess up that one of those spider chips on the MPU. This one, though, is the later version that has the little diodes on it, which is a better one. So that's cool. I like it a lot. I'm digging it the most. Another power supply of some sort. Let's see what we got. Ooh. Hello. Hello. So this is a Stern power supply, probably from the arcade games. They didn't use these in the pinball machines. It says designed and manufactured by URL, Underwriters Laboratory. Is that who that is? That's probably not how you spell it, is it? URL. Okay. But yeah, I think this is out of the arcade games. Test point 4 is 5 volts, of course. Test point 3 would be ground. Test point 2 is 12, and test point 1 is -5. That's your classic arcade game voltages. Stern, 1981. So you would have a power supply plugging in here. I mean, not the power supply, the voltage coming in from the wall or whatever. Plug it in here from the switches. And then these are your voltages going out, power out. Very cool. Yeah, that would be great to put back in a Frenzy or a Berserk. I don't know if all of their early stuff used this same power supply or not. Some of them, like Cobra, or I mean Scramble and Super Cobra, may have used a just a box power supply like a lot of arcade games do. So that's that. Got the Charlie's Angels soundboard. Very cool. This is the Beep Boop board. These were really neat because it just replaced the chimes. A lot of people hate them. I like them. I like vintage stuff, and you know, the chimes are older, so they're more vintage. But that misses the point for me. A Charlie's Angels is supposed to have this in it. Even if this is inferior to the chimes, I like having this in it. That's one of the cool things about it. You may like it better that it chimes. You may like the sound of the chime better, but I actually like the sound of this better because it's how it's supposed to be. It's hard to explain. Some people get it, some people don't. This is what's supposed to be in it, right? I need to talk to our buddy, Mr. GTO. Wah-wah! That guy. Some of you understand. Mr. GTO, who makes custom soundboards. He's been doing a bunch of Bowie stuff. I wonder if he has ever thought about even attempting to mess with the System 1 stuff. You know, so basically there are 3 little op amps that make 3 sounds that just replace the tones. I mean the chimes. So instead of doom, it goes doom, because it sounds like somebody like me making the noise. I like it though. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there, people. This is the power supply. Okay, let's see if I can remember. Yeah, just like this. The original power supply was probably replaced with a brand new one, like he said, but that's cool. I can use this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do rebuild those often. I've done that on a bunch of videos. And then last but certainly not least, we have the match display. Only 4 digits. It shows you the ball in play and the number of credits, and then it also shows you the match at the end of the game instead of the ball in play. The match number. This runs off like 42 volts, and it's a Futaba vacuum fluorescent display. And the only thing, sometimes these dim out over the years, but sometimes these little lines break too. See the little lines running from left to right? Looks like there are 3 of them on this one, and they are not broke. They're stretched real taut, so if they break, they're all jagged in there, or they're just hanging down here and stuff. But those 3 are still intact, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that might work just fine. So I'll definitely need that. Well, thank you very much, Paul. We appreciate that. We'll find a place for all of these, I'm sure, at some point. I have boxes of boards for different systems and stuff, so I'll put these with my other Gottlieb boards, and whenever I find one that I'm working on, one of these days I'm going to need a soundboard, and this one will be here waiting for me. So I appreciate that. I certainly won't be throwing any of this stuff away. This is all cool stuff to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, back to our regularly scheduled video. Wasn't that a great gift? I can't believe somebody did that. Awesome. So yeah, we'll use those. Of course, we can't use any of those on a Stern Monopoly, but I think we've kind of troubleshot this one pretty well. We know what's going on with it. Now we just need to fix it. I can see why they needed repairs. First of all, with the start button not working, it's completely crippled. But even if you could get it started, you can't really play it because of all of the broken rubber rings and just the general filth on the playfield. It's not a good idea to play it like this. But I think it's a good starting point. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. We'll film another video after we get all the parts in. And we'll systematically go through it one by one. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to have to clean up this playfield so that we can test play it after we get the parts on it. And as we install things, it'll get a little bit better the whole time. So look at this display. That's going to be a couple $100. We'll get a hold of the customer and make sure they're cool with it. I think they are. So leave your comments down below. Can you believe the battery thing? I could not believe that. Crazy. Make sure to check out my brother Donnie if you haven't seen his channel. We work on arcade games, pinball machines, and jukeboxes. My brother Donnie works on old buildings, old vehicles, things like that. Link is down below. I'm there over there on his channel a lot, having a good time. But stay tuned. We'll see you back in a couple days where we'll get this thing in much better shape. But at least we got it troubleshooted. Is it troubleshot? We were able to troubleshoot the game. We kind of know what we need to order now, and we can go from there. So I hope you enjoyed it.